All right, we are live. So, hello everyone, and welcome back to Factorio. So let's click resume, and then we can get started. All right, so when we last left off, we were, I believe, working on making legendary quality modules and such. So let's figure out where exactly we were with that. So in terms of quality modules, we are missing copper and iron, although part of that is a bit misleading because of this setup here. So this is making some things which we aren't using. So let's get those inserted. So this is the red circuit supply. So we request red circuits in that way, and we should get a request for blue circuits in here. And like so. Alright, so those red circuits should help keep this going. And then that's going to give us some legendary quality modules. Very cool. And then I believe we also have some produced directly up here, right? Yeah, we've got like 12 of them up there. So that could be a lot worse. Now that our red circuit supply is going well, we need to start making sure that the blue circuit supply also works out properly. And let's get more of these guys with those epic productivity modules, I think. Because, oh, I hit the wrong button. Because these guys are running, which means we want them to be more efficient. Okay, so that is going on. Now, while this runs, we are making a whole lot of modules, so that's good. So, let's see here. What is the next step? We have these in this sort of temporary setup. Oh, right. I think the next step was recyclers. Have we started making those already? Or were we still in the process of doing so? Oh, right. We need to actually assemble the legendary recyclers on Fulgora. So, what do we can just craft these in assembly machines. There's no special building for them. So that's a bit of a shame, but we're going to get you down. And you are going to be a legendary quality recycler. And then we have to get the chest set up through like that. You need a power pole down to there. So you need steel, gear wheels, processing units, concrete. So we go. Legendary steel plates. Legendary gear wheels. Legendary processing units. And where is it? Legendary concrete. Okay, so we have that set up, and we need to actually get it built. Hopefully the Spidertron can do that. No, we just simply do not have passive provider chest. That's fine. So Fulgora support we did end up requesting all those things, although I don't think it ended up bringing them, because we didn't produce enough just yet. So that means we need more legendary iron plates. So how is this going? Is this working the way I want it to? Yeah, I mean, it looks about right. This is basically what you'd expect to see. Everything's looping around. We're occasionally producing some. We can make this better by moving up the quality modules. Or yeah, we can move the modules up to higher tier. And that'll do something. Okay, and then what about the productivity modules, actually? Is this... So we have all of these upgraded, so let's switch those up as well. So you are legendary quality, and you are legendary quality. And then we can clear these guys out. Okay, so then we take these and we set their quality up. And we take you... Wait, no, you are supposed to be the tier 1s. You are the tier 2s. And you are the tier 3s. Okay, then we need to get rid of all these random items that got spit out from there. Okay, so this actually needs to be set up a little bit like that, I think. And you get there. You are going to be filtered on epic quality. You are going to be filtered on epic quality. So these will remove all the epic quality stuff from these belts since we don't want them. And then we're going to do the same thing with all of these. So then we get the settings, paste those into the inserters, and that should clear us out. At some point we're going to want to, yeah, let's actually, we're going to want to recycle all of this random tier 4 stuff, that like the random green circuits and all of the rest of it, which is most of the way up the quality chain, but not doing anything for us right now because we're trying to switch up to the higher tier. Okay, and then these also need to be set to legendary for those, so that all works. And then this, we need to control this circuit to get all of these boosted properly up to legendary. And the good news is this is the last time we'll ever have to do this. So that is now set up. So it should theoretically request legendary biter eggs once all the rest of this stuff is ready to produce, which obviously is going to take quite a while because we're missing red and blue circuits. And we're missing red and blue circuits because we're missing iron plates. Okay, yeah, let's set up this recycling thing. So we need a couple of recyclers because this is going to be a bit of a convoluted process. Let's see, where can we build these? I guess we should be able to squeeze it just in here. So we get our recyclers in. They get fed with just epic quality modules because I'm not that worried about it. Then, let's see here. Can we get a Spidertron over here to make the construction faster? Here we go. So we're going to have a belt going in, fed from a requester chest, which... Let's see, how are we going to get, like, just a general thing here, is the question that I need to figure out. So we need to get just sort of whatever we need into this chest, whatever's available. And I guess we're going to need to do some logic on the drone network. So we need to do a decider combinator here. Or, wait, no, maybe I think it's a selector combinator, maybe? Because you have quality filter. Outputs all input signals that pass the quality filter. So we want you to be everything that is uncommon or greater. And then you go to there, and then we're going to get a decider combinator as well. So all that stuff has to get built in. And I guess the drone... Okay, so this is in now, and it's doing its thing. We need to get the decider combinator so that we can actually see the outputs without having to scroll through this massive list of input signals of everything possible. So what this is going to do, this is going to check the drone network, filter down everything we have that is greater than uncommon. But okay, actually we need a second one, right? So we also need to then filter it a second time. So it is quality filter less than that. And this needs to be greater than or equal so we don't miss anything. Now I thought this Spidertron had... Oh, it does. It has arithmetic and deciders, but not selectors. Let's just add selectors in. That won't hurt. And of course that one's out of range of power. Okay, so this is our final list. This is everything that is epic to uncommon to epic. These are all the things we have in the drone network. We have 935 epic green circuits. That's so many. Okay. That is quite a few. Okay, so what we need to do then is filter out. So each is not equal to productivity module. Wait, no, that's not right. That's not what we want. Do we need to do we need another selector, or let's see here. Okay, wait, maybe hang on. This should be possible, right? Okay. Maybe I have another idea. No, I'm trying to think of how to do this in a way which works. So we don't want our productivity modules and quality modules to be in this list. We want to filter this out, and we want to filter this out, but send like all these rare quality modules and everything else through. Why do we have 254 rare quality modules? I have no idea why we have that. Who knows? Okay. So, in order to do that, is another selector combinator needed? Okay. Outputs a target signal with specified quality and its original value. No, that's not what we want. We need a way of filtering out specific signals to not get passed through. Oh, and I know how to do that actually. It's an arithmetic combinator. I think. So if we have U, then U get fed into there. Then we have so we have to multiply U by -1 for epic productivity modules, and then the same for the other ones. So epic quality modules multiplied by -1. Okay, then you need to output the same signal, and you need to output the same signal. And so then if we, let's see, if we cycle this back into itself, it's going to create a loop, right? So, but this should still work, right? We're outputting -44. So when we grab the output for our next combinator or whatever, which I guess, what do we even need this to do? We just need it to sort of mash the two together. So let's see here. You get your input from there, and from there. So that's not working. Okay, we finished our processing unit research. Let's do that again, because processing units are cool and useful to have. Alright, so how do we do this? There's some way. There's got to be some way, right? So these two output that. No, that's not it. Let me think here. Can we just get these connected up at all? So even if it's like an arithmetic combinator, that loop there causes it all to break. So this has the negative input signals that we want, but we just need. So what's happening exactly? So this is the input side. This is. Oh, I think I see. If we connect you up like that, and then we have to have these connections be green and not red, probably. No, I connected that up wrong. So now this has been correctly filtered. And there's got to be a better way. I bet I could do it with a constant combinator, actually. So what I want to do is compress this so I don't have like one arithmetic combinator per thing that I'm trying to wipe out. So if I set up a constant combinator with... Oh, I actually know. So I just need to set up a constant combinator with basically requests. Okay, yeah, this is much easier. So I want to have 50 of those, 50 of those, and then the other thing I want is like 100 of these, maybe. So then instead of having this, we have this arithmetic combinator connects up to that. And it's going to be each on green, each on red, minus, no, other way around maybe. So each of these minus itself on the other side, hopefully, and then outputs to each. So, yeah, now we have -6 of these, -40 of these, 56 of these. So this should basically act as like a request to store this many. And then let's go. Oh, so we need to make sure that we aren't doing more of this stuff. So these guys all need to get set to be upgraded like that. And then let's clear the old stuff out. And then all of these. Okay, these ones are just going to work because they're furnaces, but the iron sticks need to be upgraded to legendary. That's another furnace. And then this electrical pole needs to be upgraded to legendary. Okay. So, this is all set up now. So we're not going to be producing more of these. And let's just clear those out. And likewise, let's clear these belts with a filter for epic quality. And get another one of those guys out here. Okay, so this should be all set up to start producing legendary quality power poles. Now let's clear those out and then set this to just keep a couple stacks of them. So now all of the things that we were working on here, those are now all going to be absent in terms of new production. So we won't just keep producing the epic stuff when we don't want to. Okay, so now that we have all that, we just need to run a power pole back to there and connect your output over to it. And you are going to be set requests, and you're going to ask for a whole giant variety of things. And I probably should have finished this off before I sent those in, but that's fine. So all of those guys are going to get some stuff. Then you output. Actually, you're going to output up this way. Oh, we have some legendary quality items already. That's cool. So this goes up, and then let's have some space. It loops back down across this belt. And then this is going to be input priority from that side. And then let's get all of these machines powered up. So this should break down all the random junk that we have into legendary tier stuff. And then, speaking of which, we need to actually filter that. I hit escape like 5 too many times. So output priority left, legendary quality. We've already lost some legendary quality stuff by forgetting to put that in to begin with, but now we have it, so it should be fine. Then that just goes and into a box. And there we are. So that is now doing its thing. It's unclear whether or not we have enough of these guys to actually accomplish anything. And yeah, I'm still seeing... We're not requesting anything legendary in here. And this should eventually run out of things to request, because I don't think we're storing that many of these types of things. Although the quality module direct system probably will keep this running from time to time. But for now, we've got this. Now, Aquilo Quantum Support. You are stopped at Vulcanus and not going anywhere, despite the fact that your way conditions are all set. Okay, let's have you just... Right, so I see what happened there, actually. You're waiting on this delivery, which isn't going to happen. So if we just remove that and then put it back in, like so, and also probably should have just done that first, to be honest, and just give you the extra space to work. Alright, so that is that problem fixed. Now this problem has, of course, broken because there are too many different things. So let's add a bunch more of these guys in and continue to use epic quality modules for them. Okay, so then that all goes down. We're going to get power pole coverage into here. And is this inserter not going to be working properly for getting this split correct? That might indeed be the case. So we just want to wait a little while for all of these to get their modules so that they can actually work properly instead of just destroying stuff. And it says that they're on their way, because it doesn't say that they're missing any. So that should be good. We're up to 9 of these. Still mostly short on iron plates. And yeah, hopefully this recycling will produce us a couple of those. And did I make this the wrong type of... No, that is a passive provider chest. So we have 20 electronic circuits in there. And I could have sworn this... Oh wait, no, we don't directly request electronic circuits anywhere in here. So let's make sure to get that in. So you go to that. You are going to request legendary quality electronic circuits, and that will need to get built in before it'll see them. Okay, so now these are all powered up. We can get them attached like that, and hopefully that helps. We just need this to run temporarily at this capacity. Once we get through this first wave, it'll be a lot better. And we won't need to keep doing this. Okay, but yeah, I think that this box is all messed up. So let's take that box out, move you back a little bit, have you output onto a belt. And then this new one is going to be set up like that. And this will just make sure that this is doing what we want it to do. And let's also, just to make extra certain, move that inserter down a step. Okay, so we just need that belt to get placed, which apparently the Spidertron decided not to do. Does this Spidertron have... Okay, yeah, this Spidertron has Tier 1 roboports. If we... I believe we have these, right? I believe we have the higher tier roboports necessary to make that happen. Although I don't know why that first one got taken away like instantly, but this new one is waiting. Okay. Did it end up working? I don't see anything saying that it's missing. And this is still not working. So what if we just like do that? Well, it'll at least get it moving temporarily, which will be something. Because again, this is very much just a temporary situation. It'll get fixed eventually. Oh, the holmium. Did we... On Fulgora... Okay, well, this is a thing. Fulgora's broken. That's a bad sign. Yeah, see, okay. It seems to break just cyclically. So that's not good, but we did switch up to legendary holmium plates on Fulgora, so that's good. We're not just throwing those away. Now, the power situation here. What is taking all the power? Electromagnetic plants and accumulators and recyclers. So which electromagnetic plants are responsible? If we can... Wait, is the steam turbine not working? The steam turbines should be doing more than they are. I mean, obviously they're not going to be working during daytime. Okay, so who here? This one is taking like 13 megawatts on its own. as are a bunch of these ones. But they already have efficiency module beacons. Okay, how about we just spam down some more accumulators? How about that? So if we just copy that, because we clearly have enough power when the storms are out. So let's just get some more of these guys placed. And obviously we don't have enough to do all that. But maybe the Spidertron will have some. No, Spidertron doesn't have any. Hopefully Spidertron will have substations though. If it doesn't, that's gonna stink. Alright, so those are all placed, and it says that we have substations. So those can get placed in. And Fulgor support, you are moving accumulator. You have accumulators, but you haven't delivered them. So let's deliver them and make sure that Fulgor is requesting them. It isn't. That's part of the problem. Okay, so you can request those, get them brought down, and then, yeah, this power grid being off like half the time is kind of terrible. Although with how steep these spikes are, I don't want to think about how many accumulators we're going to need for all this. Okay, but we've gone from like 930 megajoules cap up to like 1.5 gigajoules cap. So hopefully that will be something. Alright, so we've reached the new cap, and we might be able to place even more of these guys. And let's just get the power lines connected up. There we go. So that's a whole bunch more of those guys in once the power grid comes in. We just need those couple of power poles. Alright, so now we have even more storage, although it's not a huge increase, but it is something. So yeah, previously 930, now we're up to 1.6-ish. So the question is going to be, once the lightning storms stop, how much power does this provide? So how much storage will we have once we're relying on the accumulators for power? Which seems like that's going to be the situation we currently find ourselves in. And the steam turbines are working. Although the actual steam supply is depleting over time. Which I guess is unsurprising considering how this is set up. Okay, and now the accumulators are running. Okay, it's hard to tell. The accumulators are doing something, but they don't seem to be charging or discharging. So I don't know what's going on with that, but the power looks 100% fine here, although now the steam turbines fall off. And then it's going to be different, probably. I bet the rocket silo spikes were involved, at least potentially. Okay, no. Now we're at this point where that's happening, and it's after the steam turbines start to fall off that we can't quite handle it. Okay, so we need more steam power, basically. Which is quite doable, and even with that, we were able to make it through. So we were able to make it through that time. So, as far as the steam power is concerned, these guys are water limited. How are you water limited? Because you're not getting any ice cubes. Has something gone wrong down here? Or is it just a temporary delay? It might be just a temporary delay, although it is quite worrying. We should be producing plenty of ice cubes, right? I guess not enough to actually run this continually. So that is going to then need productivity modules. So that'll be better in terms of the water supply. And the steam supply is building up because obviously we don't need steam power when the lightning storms are going. And then, I don't know why they just burst there for a little bit. Because of some weird spikes, I guess. Yeah, I don't know what's causing that. Oh, is it because... Yeah, okay, the storm is gone, and now the steam turbines are properly going. We didn't fill our storage tank, which means we need even more of that. So that is just going up. These are certainly hot enough that isn't the limiting factor. So it's the water supply, basically. Now, I guess that means it's partially this to blame. So let's go up here. And if we just requester chest ice just directly up into there and set that to like 200 just so that you get that moving quickly. And then we're probably going to need the Spidertron up there to get that inserter placed. Okay, the grid has crashed again. And let me guess... Okay, no, it wasn't... There wasn't some massive spike. It was just the continual drain and the lack of ice cubes. So now we have this. This can produce 53.2 water per second. Where does that go? And this one is producing another 50 and is speed moduled. Okay. Let's see. If we swap that out for a bulk inserter, then it should have them. Yes, so now you are getting your ice cubes from there, which means this one can also get enough ice cubes. So we have like 100-ish water production, somewhere around that range, and then some of that is going to there, although not much. Some of it is going up to here, although that's output full, so it's not much. And then I would assume all the rest of it... Oh, we have another one of these. All the rest of it is going down to the steam. Okay, yes. So, now that the water supply is not a major issue, we can attach a couple more storage tanks in. And I don't know if we're going to need to craft those or what, but we can increase our supply of that. Okay, I hit the wrong button like 5 times in a row. I always do that. You hit the wrong button once, and then your attempts to correct it involve hitting the wrong button again. Alright, so let's just go over here somewhere. Craft up some storage tanks with a requester chest feeding you iron plates and steel plates. And then you output to a passive provider chest, and then this whole thing gets powered. And, oh right, I keep forgetting that we don't have fast inserters here. Does Fulgora support have fast inserters on it? No, just bulk inserters. Alright. And are we requesting those? No, it doesn't seem like it. So let's get a request for just like a couple of those at a time. And we're getting more accumulators in, so that side of things will work better as well. And okay, we need passive provider chests as well. Did I ever set you to bring those? No. There's this section, but that has a whole bunch of other stuff, which I don't really want. Alright, so that should be Fulgora at least mostly fixed. So now back to this recycling setup here, which is jammed. And I don't know why it's jammed. Probably just because we're recycling 20 different things and we need more recyclers to keep up. Alright, so this runs forwards, and then we need our quality modules, which at this point, I think at this point we're out of epics. So I guess it's time to start thinking about using legendaries for this process, which is fine because it's only temporary anyways. Otherwise it might be a bit of a waste of these. So the modules are in, except for these ones, which still need a little bit. And come on, hurry on up. These modules are so consistently slow to arrive. Did this ever get... It got one of them. That's weird. Okay, if I try to give you another one, that should show up eventually. And you've only delivered like half of the quality modules for that machine. Although it is recycling now successfully. That needs to be a bulk inserter just to keep up with that. Okay. Okay, no, we are short on epic quality modules for that, so let's give you legendaries then. And are you also missing legendaries? No, I hit the wrong button. Whenever you hit escape, it just brings you back to wherever the character is, which is almost never where I actually want to be looking. Okay, let's just get these powered up so that we can get this going. Those modules should show up eventually. Okay, so now all of these are running. And this should be like pretty steadily decreasing over time, right? Because we're taking stuff out and not putting it back. Now we have all sorts of like weird intermediate parts in here as well, which we can throw in. Like these ones. Not passive provider chests, requester chests. So you can request legendary qualities of the tier 1s. You request legendary tier 2s. And that should be all we need from them. The rest of these guys are all connected up. Did we ever get any legendary productivity modules? No. Although we have a decent chunk of the rest of this stuff. It's these ones up here which seem to be having troubles, which is not at all surprising. Okay, so this is still just churning through. It's gonna take a while, probably, but it isn't getting completely jammed anymore. So all these machines are running, and they're not completely jammed, so that's probably fine. And this is sort of a side project anyways to like our main goal. It's just to make use of some of this, which would otherwise just be sitting around being wasted. Okay, now let's check, did this ever become a thing? Did we ever get any of these? No. None of those ever showed up. Which is a little bit annoying. I want to get legendary recyclers so that I can use fewer machines overall, which means fewer modules. And I think it probably all just goes back to the iron plate shortage. Oh, and speaking of iron plate shortage, we have an actual iron plate shortage in here. So you are trying to head to a destination, but you're stuck behind that. Right, it's this obnoxious setup again is still causing problems because you need to go all the way down there to turn around. Okay, I've looked at this like a billion times and decided that I don't really know how to fix it. It might be time to do something drastic about it though, like if we... No, because there's belts and stuff there which we're actively using. The problem is that everything in here is like in use, so I can't just dismantle it or whatever. And I imagine that like if we try to put in something incredibly cursed like this, it's just not going to be able to turn well enough. Although maybe we can do something about it. So if we have that one in there. This is horrific. Okay, but we can do something less atrocious than that. So you... Why can't you just... Oh, because... No, so this train goes out this way and around. And let's get in a random rail signal in here. So this train is going this way. So we don't want it to connect up like that, because that would be backwards. We want it to connect up the other way to this, which this is not necessary, right? This just makes solar panels and accumulators, which we do not need in such massive quantities anymore. Okay, yeah, that's what we're gonna do. This factory is unnecessary. We have this one down here, which does the same thing. And previously we needed this when we were building massive solar farms. But we aren't building massive solar farms anymore, so that can go away. And now, if you connect into there, and then we get a rail signal or two in there to make those separate blocks, then that should fix the problem, I think. I think that fixes the problem. Not 100% sure, but let's see. So those signals are in. And okay, we need one more signal to be like marginally precise. Okay, I think we actually need it to be like in that exact spot and not down there. Okay, no, that it doesn't want to. Can we shift this whole train station down a little bit? Yes, that shouldn't be too bad. So if we just copy paste all of this and bring it down like just a little bit to there. So that still has the same thing. These should have the same instructions. Okay. Oh, and they need power as well. So that is in. Now those go out. And now all of this is going to be misaligned. So we then need to... Oh, what a mess. Okay, we need you to grab from there. Actually, if we just copy paste this whole thing and build it down this way, like that, and then we take these and merge them up, and those mergers need to not exist actually. Okay, so then these go back into that area. And like that. Okay, no, we've messed up because this belt down here needs some, which we can actually just feed directly from here. Okay. I think we've done it. Although we seem to somehow be missing iron chests. Oh, right, that's because I upgraded to steel chests after this. So we just replace some of these guys in. And then I guess those can remain powered. And then we have that back there, and so this, I have no idea if this works or not, but it looks like it might. It looks like it might. And that's good enough for me. So we have a train back here making iron plates. Very, very slowly. And then we have this. So this is obviously also reliant on the iron plate supply. And apparently the logistics network doesn't quite make it over to that, so let's try to cover that in a relatively efficient way by putting the power line down to there. And I would have thought that all of these guys should be coming down to here, which maybe not. Maybe this is stuck again. Yeah, so this is stuck again. Now, we did make some progress, but I don't think we have many more of these, so we can, like, I don't know, maybe add a couple more of these guys in. So if we just assign it like that, the rest of the quality modules are going to have to come from, like, way up. From the direct quality module cycling. But this should be able to go in like that, and we'll actually get it going a little bit with these first two. I don't want to place... Okay, so these two, I don't want to place the power poles in. We can do everything up to that point, because they don't have their modules yet, so they would be inefficient. Now, how is this go? There's still so much. Like, there's an insane amount of stuff that still needs to be recycled here. And we're not making that much progress, it seems. But we are making some progress. So that's something, at least. Okay, I have a bit of a cursed idea. So output priority right. And then the left belt can run along and go into a passive provider chest. And that will, of course, be able to run continually. And then it'll just pick stuff up and drop it off back here. But that should just keep this belt creeping along. Processing unit productivity is finished again. Let's do more scrap recycling productivity, because that's also going to be quite useful when we get to Fulgora. Alright, so this is doing its thing. And at this point, it's kind of just like these bottom couple running. But hopefully this will change eventually. Okay, wait, I actually have an idea. If we connect these two, you can be read contents. And you can be enable, disable if everything is greater than 200? Or... Okay, apparently everything is not just add everything together. Okay, I think we need more logic for this. Maybe arithmetic combinator? So these two don't connect across directly. They connect across like that, and then into there. So then you can add up... No, apparently we can't just sum up the total number of signals. It'd be cool if we could. Okay, wait. No. Maybe it's decider combinator and... Or... Can this just take anything? No, wait. Hang on. Because we need to... We need to check, like, the number of available slots, which we can't do. Maybe we can check, like, the number of signals as an indicator of that. Output the number of distinct input signals. Yes, this is what we want. Alright, so we go you into there, and you across into here, and you are going to output something to signal 0. And if signal 0 is less than 5, maybe? Although now this is just... Now that this is just disabled, it's just going to be filling up, basically. Which might be fine. But... Okay, this should be going down, right? 18 inputs. Oh, no, you need to be... You need to be connected on the green line, not the red line, I think. Why is that? Oh, right. It has to be set up like that. So you are 4, which means that this is currently active and sending things back to here. Wait, you can only read contents or set requests? That's a nuisance. I don't know what we're going to do about that. Yeah, I don't know how to fix that then. So I guess we have to read it from the belts directly. So let's see here. So instead of you being connected back to there, you are going to connect in to here. And this will be hold all belts. And okay, I don't think we want a selector combinator actually. I think we want a decider combinator for this. So decider combinator reads from there, hold all belts. So this is getting all this stuff. And then if, let's see, no, this doesn't work either, because again, we can't add up all the signals. There's got to be a selector. There's got to be some sort of combinator that just like adds up the total value of all the inputs to it. Select a specific signal based on criteria. No, we don't want that. We don't want number of distinct input signals. Okay, maybe it is select input. How does this even work? I used to understand how select input works, but now I don't. Right, I mean, it seems to be working though, so like, who cares? We are successfully recycling things in here, and we have several hundred spare cables, which is cool. The steel plate supply is also pretty decent. Okay, so how is this going? In terms of outputs, there's still like 20 billion different things. We are getting there. So over here on the main production line, this has been stuck for a while. Apparently there's the world's tiniest gap in drone coverage. How is there so many drone ports in this area and yet this isn't in the logistics network? That's ridiculous. Okay, so that is placed, and now we get some of these delivered directly, which is cool. So we're just going to be able to go straight from that step. But the main limiting factor remains the iron plates, which is a problem because that's sort of the main limiting factor for absolutely everything. If we just need an infinite supply of quality iron plates in order to get anything done at all. So this needs them. And actually, why are you short on sticks? Oh, do you have, is that why you just had like one individual thing in there? Alright, so we can get some of these guys through, which won't be great for my long-term supply of iron plates. And also it won't be great that this guy can't get to a destination. Okay, so you are heading, you're trying to get through, and you are stuck. For what reason? Okay, this is in fact not the right spot for that signal. That signal needs to be back there. So if we put that signal back there, then this should be fixed entirely. Barring some more incredibly cursed train situations. Alright, so yeah, that signal means that this train waiting at its stop isn't causing any problems. And that means that all these trains can get through, which means that they can successfully turn around and leave the area. Which means this train was able to leave. And hopefully this is that returning, or what are you doing? Oh no, you're going up to this iron plate destination, which is of course fine. We do need iron plates there after all. Now this one, all of these guys are either waiting at... Okay, so 2 of these guys are just waiting at the source. Are they filling up successfully? Yes. So this is all working fine. We could, and definitely should, make this run faster and better. So let's go productivity modules, just the regular common ones for these. And we can just run those up, run those down. So that is step 1. Then we get all the speed modules placed in as well. And so now this... Oh wait. Electricity problems. Oh boy. The power grid has failed. Why has the power grid failed? 2.7 giga... Huh? How? What foundries and EM plants are doing this? What on earth? What has happened here? I mean, yeah, these take a lot of power, but that much power? Really? Are you sure? Is the nuclear running? Okay, this nuclear up here doesn't have input fluid. This pipe got cut some... Oh, I see. That's exactly what happened. This pipe got cut. Okay, so we just need to rebuild this pipe. Yeah, I didn't realize that that pipe connected into something else. So we just need to get that connected back up. And that will replace all of these... All of this nuclear power should be good, and they all do have power. Yes, so now they're connected again, and they're producing power again. So that's a huge boost. It's kind of insane how much power... How do I even have 120 EM plants? Like, where exactly are those 120 EM plants? I mean, yeah, there are a bunch of them in here, but not 120. And these ones are even efficiency moduled, although these ones aren't. Let's see here. Do these need efficiency modules? These ones have them, and it's not that... I mean, those are all like 10 megawatts anyways. It's not that much of a improvement. Alright, we're charging the accumulators again. So that is recovered nicely. Now, All of these guys are also upgraded. So we should be producing plenty of iron plates. And we are indeed. It looks like this might even be belt speed limited. So let's just get a whole big giant upgrade planner across that whole area. Nothing terribly expensive. Although we don't have enough turbo transport belts on hand. The various Vulcanist supports should be bringing those through, right? So that'll happen eventually. I don't normally use quite that many turbo transport belts. But hopefully if the drones are lucky, they'll place the important ones first. Alright, so the iron supply here is still a bit limited, but there is a train on its way already, and it hasn't quite run out fully yet. Although it's like half run out, which is still pretty unfortunate for our resource efficiency. So that is coming through. And here it is. Plenty of iron plates loaded in. Just like so. Alright, so that's going. It's doing its thing. And it'll get there eventually. This has something of a build-up, although not much. Down here, this is still cycling successfully. Having this sort of excess buffer seems to have fixed the problem. And we even are getting the occasional iron plate out of this, in addition to a whole bunch of other random stuff that we're getting. We seem to... yeah, so this is now much more under control in terms of how many excess things are there. So that's good. The coal supply seems to... it's just intermittent, right? Because these trains don't carry that much. So I think we just... let's see, where is our coal supply is down here, and it... yeah, we literally just need like more coal trains making that journey. Because this is already almost completely out and has been like 10 seconds. Okay, so how do we do that? I mean, these would technically need to have multiple trains waiting in them, right? So let's get a rail signal in there. Give you a train limit of 2, and then give you a train limit of 2. So you also are going to get a rail signal just like in there somewhere, and enable train limit of 2. And then let's just get the second train built in, and actually I want to do this somewhere relatively quiet. So just like over here, I think this iron ore, I mean, I'm not using it for anything probably. Clearly not using too much of it. So we just want to build this in a place where trains hopefully won't need to show up and cause problems. Doesn't really matter where it goes so long as it's facing the right direction and everything. It'll just get back on track. Although it actually technically needs to be in a station. It does need to be in a station or somewhere with access to fuel. So I guess we can just get this solid fuel input there. And then we just have to wait for that train to get built. In the meantime, let's look at something else. Yeah, the coal supply. I mean, it's never that far from being built, but is always not quite built. Okay, that didn't work, because turns out there is actually a train that comes over here. Whoops. Okay, you can go through. And then, I guess let's just make like a random side path, which we can have just for making new trains, and put it somewhere out of the way, like up in this area over here where we don't do quite so much work anymore. Although that area is all a mess. Oh, we can pull it off of this. That would be easy. So this side goes down, and it seems like it needs some extra rail signals in here anyways. Okay, so let's get rail signals in. And then we go out here, down a little bit, and okay, that's too much. Down a little bit, and then you have that nice straight area for building the trains, and then it just loops back in that way. And we then get rail signals there and there, while this here I think needs to be upgraded to a chain signal, maybe. And there's another minuscule little gap in here, because of course there is. Okay, let's see. How do we get all of that? I think we put it like there. That should cover that entire gap. Then we bring the power line up. Okay, and then we can get a train stop in there, which we are just going to label as train construction. Okay, and then since this is labeled as train construction, let's get a buffer chest right here with locomotives and cargo wagons, and I guess also fluid wagons. No, that's a requester chest. I need a buffer chest for you, which apparently we do have somewhere. Okay, then we do need a requester chest here, which goes into there, and this will be our solid fuel. And apparently the drone coverage wasn't quite enough, so let's get another one up there. And you are solid fuel requester. And then we can get our train built in. So that's train 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the solid fuel has arrived. So once this train gets built, it will be fueled up and ready to go. Let's take that little extra chunk of track out. There we go. So now you get assigned to the coal group, set to automatic, and off you go. And that'll be all we need for that. Apparently we are missing buffer chests. Okay, so let's just go up into this area and get some of that crafted. So we copy, paste, change the recipe to buffer chest, and power line. So that should get us our buffer chests. There we go, and the turbo transport belts are on their way, so that should stop being an issue shortly. Okay, then we can zoom into this. And it looks like it might be starting to get stuck again. I'm actually not sure how. We should have delivered almost everything, although somehow this is a much larger number than it was just a moment ago. Are we? We're not still producing any quality stuff, are we? I don't think we are. I don't see where that would be. So that is just part of that whole chain. All of this is doing its thing. Oh, it's this up here, isn't it? Yeah. So we need to limit down our stockpiles of all of these types of modules. And then lift these guys out of those stockpiles. And make sure that if we're doing that same process somewhere else that we don't. Yeah, so that's good. This is all doing its thing now. And yeah, so this, we've got a whole bunch of just like random junk. Okay, it's mostly this though, I think. And this is slowed down to a crawl. It's very much not functional currently. Hopefully... Okay, that looks like it might actually be improving. Can I just deactivate the supply of fresh input temporarily? So that should wind down the amount of stuff in here. And then we can reboot it and then have everything be running properly again. That's sort of a lazy but functional fix for that problem. And it's going to take a while because this does need to, use up all the stuff bit by bit. Okay, now how is this going? So this is still producing, but it's still sort of not being great on the iron supply. We do have another train incoming, but we are like a couple boxes away from being fully saturated, and this also has the problem of not using both sides of the belt. So let's see here. How do we... I know there was some way of setting up this system so that like everything got output to all sides. I can't quite think of what it was though. Because I don't want to keep doing this thing where like these couple outputs are the last ones to go and these ones get filled up instantly. So what we need to do is, I think it has to do with how these ones prioritize or something. Or, yeah, so these outputs are going through faster on the right row. That's this one. I've also just realized that this express splitter isn't upgraded. So we need to get that express splitter upgraded so that all of this can actually matter. This is 60 per second, this is 45 per second, that doesn't work. So just get that express splitter down there, and that should just increase the throughput, which will mean that this runs out of iron earlier, but that's probably fine. And I think the other thing I want to do is make these all stack inserters just in case. We should be able to save a little bit of time on the unloading process by doing it like that. Which, again, I don't even know if that is the problem, but if it is, then now it won't be. So this is draining all its resources, and yeah, I still don't understand why, like, it's such a dramatic difference between this side of the belt and the other side of the belt. Like, it's not even close. We do already have another train heading over here, so that's good. Because, like, this isn't actually making it all the way to the other end of the belt. So if everything gets picked up, it shouldn't do weird stuff like that. Is it because of how these merge together, maybe? I don't know. It's hard to say. Alright, new train is back. Providing all sorts of stuff. Okay. So does this, like, make it all the way to the other end and stop a little bit? It does, actually, just barely, I think. So maybe that is why. Who knows, though. Alright, so let's check over here. These guys, we've got 200 of those and 100 of those. So Fulgora support. It did wind up getting concrete done, but not any of the others. So we need to... Okay, what we actually need to do is just build up blue circuits instead of sending them through. So this... Where's our blue circuit input? That's this one. Okay, let's connect you up to that simply so I can set enable disable to turn you off temporarily. So now any blue circuits we produce, we should just hold on to, unless we probably also use them up here. Yeah, okay. So we need this. Can someone just remove that random tree that's hiding that? Alright, so then this we can also set to enable disable. So that just makes it easier for me to turn them back on when I do eventually want them. So we need to build up our legendary blue circuit supply in order for that to work. Now, how much gear wheels? Okay, you need to have custom and minimum payloads of exactly the amount, because otherwise you're not going to be storing that many and it's not going to work. So the concrete we have, the processing units are going to be a while. Is there... Can I make the recyclers... Okay, yeah, I can't make the recyclers in EM plants to get more efficiency out of them, or productivity specifically. So that's fine. Alright, this has wound down. So now if we reactivate that inserter, we can start it back up again. And that will be that. So these guys... Okay, I really just need to get this portion unplanned so that it's not constantly giving me warnings that I don't care about. Okay, there's other similar things up here. So if we take all those out, now it's not asking for any foundations. It's just asking for the passive provider chests. Okay, we can we can drop those down. And any of this other stuff important here? Not really. Okay, so with that passive provider chest supply, we should be able to do something with this. Although, do we not have any just regular old iron plates available on this planet? Where would those be if I were an iron plate? If I were an iron plate, where would I be? Alright, we've got a big long belt down this way, so we can just passive provider chest some of those. So that should solve that problem. And you have your legendary concrete. And did we actually get Fulgora requesting all that stuff? We did. Alright, so yeah, legendary concrete, check. No more need to worry about that. The steel plates and gear wheels should be fine now that I've remembered to set their requests down. Because we're only requesting like 100 of each, and we've got like 100 of each. So there's no problem with that. Just making a bit more of this steel. And then the only thing we need are the blue circuits, which are the most difficult by a wide margin. How many of these do we need? We also need the fewest by a wide margin, so that's something. If we go up to you, and instead of asking for 100, can you ask for like 30 with a minimum payload of like 30? That ought to help a little bit. Because if it's 6 each, that'll still get us 5 recyclers, which is a not terrible number, although we're still going to need a bunch more. And this, yeah, the plastic shortage is like weirdly precisely close to the iron plate shortage. Like they're almost exactly the same. Although it might just be, it might actually just be that plastic has stopped almost entirely. How's this going? Are you doing anything? This whole giant loop. We are filtering stuff out, and yes, we do occasionally make plastic. And that is all good. There's nothing to see there. This, we did wind up making a couple productivity module 3s. So that's good. We have that going, we have this going. Okay, so how, if we were to improve the throughput of our iron plate supply, how would we do that? Let's just think. It seems like the major limiting factor is just like the raw plates going into the system. Like, this is only half of a belt 90% of the time. So we need more iron plates, basically. Now, there isn't that much delay on them showing up. Now, we had a setup over here, right? This makes iron plates, but seemingly not quite fast enough for what we need. Which, it's still very quick, but this train has been sitting here loading for quite a while. So, we are going to need to make this even quicker. Now, the molten iron supply here, we have 400, 350. It's super annoying that these are all different numbers. Can I just, like, get a couple extra speed beacons in here? Just so that, not even necessarily because I want it to be faster, but just because this should make the numbers all consistent, right? So with these beacons placed, and this one needs to get its modules, all of these should produce the 403 number, which should be good. Alright, so this is... No, this one is still faster. How are you still faster? You have 4 beacons. Oh, because that one hasn't been placed. Alright, so yes, now all of these are 403, so this is 1200 molten iron going out. And we're using 120, 240, 360, and we're using like 480 of it. So that's obviously, we can do a whole lot better. So let's just see if we just copy this entire row, flip you vertically, and place you in up there. Then all we need to do is take this pipe, loop you up to there, and it should be good. Apparently, no warnings have popped up, so we aren't short on any of the supplies needed to make this. Although, I guess theoretically we might be short on the modules, but probably not. Okay, and then some of these guys were relying on substations from down there, so let's get a couple more substations in to cover them up. And that should be a nice, crisp doubling of our supply of iron plates, which means that this loop in there doesn't need to be made anymore, because now we're just naturally putting the same amount of iron plates on both sides. And I should have a Spidertron over here to do building, but it's just a quick fix, so like I don't think it'll be a huge issue. I saw an upgrade happening in there. Yeah, a couple of those belts are slow. We're gonna want those belts to be faster. Okay, so right now that's showing as a full belt. I suspect that will fall down a little bit as things get through and stabilize. Okay, now fluid ingredient shortage because not enough iron ore. Okay, so now we're turning all the iron ore into plates at least. So that is an improvement. So this needs to be set up to feed from both belts. So if we just do like that, I think that evens out the belt usage. So we can put the iron ore through on both halves instead of this awkward setup that we have here. So that'll drain the iron ore faster, and hopefully it'll also show back up fast enough to keep up. And right, so the other thing we need to do on this side is increase inserter speed so that the loading and unloading can happen faster. And actually just having these be stack inserters will also massively increase the throughput of this belt. So that should be handy. Alright, stack inserters showing up. And mostly in, just a couple more. There we are. So that should have us handled. Although this isn't quite working the way I want it to right now. Although I guess that's just because we've run into the exact opposite problem. So now this is no longer limited by the iron ore availability. And the calcite availability seems to be holding up. Let's just set that up slightly higher, just so that we have a calcite buffer, you know. So this is all going, and so these bulk inserters here are loading up fast enough to keep this in control. And then the stack inserters are then outputting all that stuff onto these intermediate belts, which probably don't need this to be like that, but it works. It's not like it's not like it's broken or anything. We have 3 stack inserters feeding into 3 stack inserters, so it should basically just work out. If we had enough iron plates here to keep this train full 24/7, which it seems like we don't. Although we might just need to give it a little bit more time to warm up before we can say for certain. So let's see, this was 120, 240, 360, 480. So this full thing is using like 2/3 of this. So if we just get another stack in here, then, I mean, hopefully we'll encounter the point where the throughput of the output belt is the problem. Okay, so you need to, let's see, it doesn't really matter, I guess. We can just do it like that, and then grab that belt, run you along, and then this is going to connect in like that. Yeah, I should really have a Spidertron in here. And that's not a fast enough splitter, right? We need a faster splitter. So we need you. Okay, so that is all getting built up. Then let's squeeze in some substations in those gaps. And the downside of making upgrades like this is that it all breaks while we wait for the splitter to go in. And hopefully that splitter will be showing up soon. Yeah, there it is. So now the existing stuff is back in. And this, we are going to want to do the old loop around. So let's see if I can even remember how to do that. I believe it was something like that. So that this output can be distributed amongst both sides. Let's also connect it up so that it actually has an output. So that will be connected up to the molten iron. And okay, yeah, we're just waiting on those pipes, which I should have remembered to place earlier. And also I need those belts to be upgraded just in case. Don't know how strict the demand is going to be, but it might be pretty strict. So now this is doing its thing. It's unloading. And this might not be like the optimal way of unloading. I think a direct insert would probably be better, because here we're just like randomly limited by the belt speed for no good reason. Alright, so now the train is full but unable to get to its destination. Destination full. Okay, wait, that's actually fine though, right? So if the occasional other train shows up and does the work that gives this place more time to just sort of catch up and fill itself with iron. And yeah, now that destination is no longer full, so the train goes out. Okay, so So you are doing your thing, and right, so I think if we just put that in again, it won't make a difference. It won't make a difference under ordinary circumstances, but it will mean that these sort of last priority things will get a little bit more throughput out of them while they're running, which hopefully won't happen because hopefully another train will show up in time. But there's currently no train on the way to here. So yeah, now we're getting the full belt's worth out of this, even though... Okay, technically not quite a full belt's worth. That needs to be upgraded. So we're getting a full belt's worth out of this, even though only half of this stuff is in, which means this will probably just run out of resources soon. And this is backing up, so we can, in theory, add a little bit more onto this stack, although that's actually because we're output full on this side. Okay, that's interesting. I hadn't realized that that was a thing. So we need to upgrade all of these belts then, in order to get everything out, because that is purely a belt speed limitation there. And we might also need to do something with having stack inserters on here, although that does tend to cause problems with this setup. It's not impossible to fix. It's just we would need to probably redesign most of this, which I don't really want to do. Okay, so these stack inserters are doing their absolute best, but like they can just barely keep up on this one at least. So that is doing its thing. We have our full output going. Alright. Yeah, I mean this... I don't see how we can do much better here in this space. Sorry about that, I had to sneeze real quick. Like, we have... Obviously, if we could add more space, we might be able to do something a little bit better. But with the space we have, this is basically what we can do. And now we are once again at the point where it's just these couple of lowest priority ones outputting, and they are not doing great. There's still no train on the way here, which means I mean, I guess that makes sense. We're using basically 100% of our stack belt in order to keep this up. So if we have the other train loading at anything less than that, then we're going to have problems. But yeah, I guess this might wind up equalizing out on these boxes, just because eventually this is going to run completely empty. Right, there we go. We have another delivery. Yeah, we're gonna need to upgrade our iron plate processing capabilities, which I think what we're actually going to do is go over to Vulcanus and start planning stuff out here, because Vulcanus, obviously we've got lava, we've got free access to all the iron and copper that we could want. So this is eventually going to be the source for our iron and copper. Can I just get these guys connected up so that they stop whining all the time? Like, every time I go in here, I see this ridiculous little, like, block in there, which is oh, we don't we're not powered, please help. And it's like not actually a concern, but it freaks me out every time. So now those are connected. Alright, so we're here on Vulcanus. What we need is a recycling setup for just mass quantities of iron plates and later copper plates, but for now I think we're going to start with iron plates. Now we want to have all the space in the world for this, because this is going to be like the primary purpose of this entire planet. So we could build it down here by this calcite. That wouldn't be completely crazy. There's lava too. Okay, yeah, let's get Spidertron down here. And oh, power might be a concern. How much power do we have from solar? 417 megawatts. Based on my experiences with foundry throughput, that's not going to be enough, but I did learn, apparently I missed something when I was setting this up for the first time. So if we get a chemical plant in, if we do acid neutralization, this produces hot steam, which we can use for power. So let's start with that, actually. That can be step one, because we have free access to plenty of sulfuric acid if we have enough of these guys connected up, which apparently we actually need more of. But that's just like a separate issue. So let's get this power plant. We're gonna build it. How about just up here by the solar panels for no particular reason? So first we are going to need... Did this require anything else? And did it produce anything else? I believe we had some of that in here just for producing steam for crafting. Yeah, so you need calcite and sulfuric acid, and you only produce steam. I guess actually we could just plan on importing fusion power to here. That wouldn't be terrible either. We look over on Aquilo. This is still doing its thing, making fusion power nice and easy. Okay, let's just plan on importing fusion power to here. So, do we have enough of these guys? We've got 4 fusion reactors and 30-some of those. And the only thing this needs is just a supply of fusion power cells, which we're crafting here on Aquilo. And, I mean, we've got plenty of these, right? There's no concern about us realistically running out of those. So, the other good news is that because this isn't actually Aquilo, we'll be able to build this relatively easily. All right, so yeah, let's get fusion reactor, and this is obviously going to give us warnings, but that's fine. Okay, how did I do this as a general rule? I had just like 2 of these next to each other. So let's just try to keep that the same. So we need to design this slightly differently, of course, because we don't need the heat pipes. That should make it dramatically easier, not harder. So we have that, and these guys. How did you connect up? Oh, you didn't connect up. You just went to 2 separate. You just went to a whole separate batch of generators each. Right, that was how that wound up happening. So you go out to there, and then we did something like this. This, that, I think. And then we can just sort of continue chaining along like that. So the pipes, we combine the pipes up. How did Aquilo do this? Just sort of around the edges, just sort of kind of messy. So this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, if we just sort of continue looping this along like that, we can fit a lot of these guys in. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, that's going to be enough per generator. Alright, then we get the pipes going through. Those just have to connect up to all of the outputs. And we don't need to worry about stupid heat pipes anymore. So it'll all just work, and it'll be so easy. And I guess these pipes are actually going to get built because we have them. Alright, so that successfully loops all the way around. Then we copy-paste this. And flip you horizontally. And get you in like that. So something like this is going to take all of these guys. Okay, then we need a cryogenic plant here. So the cryogenic plant goes in and is going to be cooling the fluoroketone, which I really hope there's not some weird magical interaction where this doesn't work on Vulcanus. That shouldn't be the case. Nothing about it says that it isn't the case, but it would be pretty funny if it were. Okay, so that all goes in, and I think we need another drone port out here just to get full coverage. Some of those guys aren't. Okay, so we need power. That's another thing we need. We need to get some substations in. I guess we can worry about that. That shouldn't be too hard to do. We just run some power poles along the outside. And hopefully that'll be enough. And if it isn't, then we can swap these for substations or even potentially quality power poles if need be. Okay, then we had these guys. Oh, we actually used this internal area to feed in the resources. So we get an inserter and a belt and wait, that's not quite right. We need a belt there, a belt there, and I guess this just sort of splits like that and then comes back to here where we get a requester chest. You are going to be requesting our fusion power cells, and then all of this can get built up. Yeah, so we do need a drone port in this general vicinity. Just pop one in there. And then we need... Okay, we need this unbarreler set up. So let's just grab that whole sail. Pop you in, and then get rid of all these silly heat pipes. Okay, so that is all in. And we just need the power pole to go along with it. Okay, so now if we get all of our inputs set up, then this I believe should work. Am I missing anything? I don't think so. Okay, so we just need to get a platform down here. So that is going to be a whole process in itself, actually. Okay, one of you guys stops by. Do you stop by Vulcanus? No. Do you stop by Vulcanus? No. You definitely do. Okay, so since you are making the trip anyways, you can grab some fusion power cells, grab some fusion reactors, and you can... Yeah, I mean, you only really need to carry 2, and grab some fusion generators, and you're going to need to carry like 40 of these probably. You're going to need a lot. And then bring those... Yeah, we need 30 technically. Oh, and we also need cryogenic plants. Oh, which we are already requesting, apparently. But only 1. Let's boost that up to like 4 at a time, maybe? Okay, so we're gonna have to see how that even works. And then Vulcanus, are you set up to auto-request things? No, so we're gonna have to get you set up to request things. So you need a cryogenic plant for the cooling. You need 2 of those, and you need like 40-ish of those, maybe. And then that should eventually just make its way down to here, and that should provide us all the power that we need. So, now that that is set up, and will eventually get built... Oh, wait, I just realized another thing. You need like a little bit of hot fluoroketone barrels. Not many, but some. Which, okay, I believe we have successfully sent some of that stuff down. And we shouldn't need more than a tiny amount because of how the barreling works. But that should get us... Yeah, so the cryogenic plant is in, because it just happened to have one on hand. Then the hot fluoroketone is on its way, and that should deliver us several hundred of the stuff, which should be plenty for what we need it for. So that is then going to cool it, and then we'll be all good. Was that set up with circuit network stuff here? It was. And it was read contents, including crafting, and enable disable less than 15. So that's obviously easy enough. So we just do that, read contents, and enable disable less than... Oh, that actually did get pasted properly. That's good. Alright, so that is all set. And now we are... Apparently a whole bunch of foundries just ran. Not sure why that happened. But it does make the power consumption here a little bit less steady than I would like. But regardless, no need to worry about that. So we have fusion power soon ready to go. So we just come down here and let's start setting up this whole system, which I don't know how much I want to actually like connect this up or anything yet. So we get a foundry, which is going to be molten iron from lava. How much do we get for that? Not a huge amount, although there are no modules in it, obviously. So let's just say theoretically we have a row of something like this, although let's make it more realistic. So we're going to have our beacons in every other, which means we need to align this differently. So we have this, and let's just get the beacons on the ends as well. And is this whole thing... Yeah, I don't know if I actually wanted this to be actively built yet, just because like we need a whole bunch of modules to come down here to actually get this working, which we don't really have access to right now. Novice keeps getting attacked. Where are these happening? Oh, right, it's still just this corner. But if I remember correctly, we now have the ability to... Where are those? We have the ability to craft these, which means I think I don't care about keeping them intact anymore, so let's just... Okay, let's just see. This area should be plenty secure to just pop down a basic self-loading gun blueprint in here, and if the biters can get through all of this defenses, then good for them. So that should get us covered on that front. Now, here on Vulcanus, we have all of this, and this is going to provide us with stone, which we need to get rid of, and molten iron, which we need to not get rid of. Okay, so our lava pipe goes through to there. Then we need an output belt there for the stone. And then all that stuff goes in. Okay, so finally we have our output pipe, which isn't there. It's one further back so that this can connect up. Alright, so we have this set up. Now, what I actually want to do is get like an infinite number of beacons in here, because that will make this... So we shouldn't have problems getting rid of the stone, because it's relatively low. But when we get up to quality module... When we get quality foundries, powered by quality modules, and everything else, then we won't have to use that many of them. And it'll just be like the number of beacons we can squeeze in like this is better. So this gives us our output pipe, and then we... Let's see, do we even need to interact with that output pipe up here, or can we just... We should be able to just take it somewhere, right? And that'll be helpful for just having broader access to it. So that would go down like this. Then our lava input can come from over there and be fine. So this comes down here to be a little bit closer to this calcite, I guess. Although again, not sure it matters that much. And then we get our somewhat similar row of foundries, except this time it's the solid output which matters the most, because this is just going to be iron. So we get this row, and we build that up. Vulcanus is somehow missing pipes and foundries. What's going on? How is making pipes on Vulcanus is like the easiest thing you can do. Oh, is it just a drone coverage range problem? No, there's definitely drone coverage for that whole thing. Oh, it is a drone coverage range down here. That's what's happening. Okay, yeah, we're not worried about that. Not worried about that at all. Okay, so this, instead of being that, we are going to be... Actually, is gear wheels better for... No, I think it is iron plates, because, I mean, we're not going to be able to get these things out of here at a reasonable rate with quality foundries, quality beacons, and everything. Like, that's just going to be incredibly difficult. Okay, so these guys, we need them all to be filled up like this. And let's see, that should be fine, probably. Scrap recycling productivity has gone up. You love to see it. Let's see, what have we left relatively far behind? Mining productivity, I guess, is relatively far behind. Let's fix that. I try not to rely on, like, mining as much, but there's obviously, you know, calcite and tungsten and stuff that we have to mine. Okay. So, we have this sort of setup. Now, actually, what we need to do... Now, it's going to be, like, impossible to tell the ratios, right? Because when these are qualitied, and the beacons are quality, and the modules are qualitied, it's going to be incredibly fast per machine. To the point where, like, I bet we're probably not even going to be able to get stuff out of these super easily. So let's account for that. So these are going to have, like, 2 belts of outputs each, potentially. And I don't know, so something like that. And then these are going to merge up. Actually, I wonder if just keeping the iron... Yeah, actually, just keeping the iron molten... And we forgot to add the calcite into this, so that needs to be done. I forgot that the calcite was on this side and not the other. Yeah, I think keeping the iron molten is actually going to be more convenient for, like, long-term production. So we have something like this set up. Then we... Let's see. If we deconstruct all of that, then I really wish we had all of our quality stuff so that we could actually figure this out. Oh, we do have 5 legendary recyclers. That is huge. So this, we're obviously going to limit down quite hard. But we are now making legendary recyclers. So that is a big deal. So we need to get those back to novice to be used. Although what's the numbers on them? They are crafting speed of 1.25, whereas these ones are crafting speed of 0.5 by default. So these are more than twice as fast. So that's pretty great. If we can get... So these 5 here are worth like 12, maybe? Yeah, so these... Actually, yeah, these 5 are worth 12.5 recyclers regularly. So that's a huge improvement. Now, another thing which we want to have our beacons, which we should be able to make those just on Novice without much extra work. Because I believe that increases like the transmission efficiency, which will make the beacons more powerful. So we get legendary quality beacons. And these need... all of these inputs we just have directly, right? So we can just do legendary quality copper cables and electronic circuits and advanced circuits. And where is the steel? There it is. So all of those are in. Then we pop those across to another one. And let's just confirm there's no special machine to craft beacons in. I don't think so. Oh wait, no, there is. Electromagnetic plant. Alright, dismantle you real quick. We do not want to leave that on the table. Wait, can I just copy those settings before we leave it? So yeah, this is the 50% productivity boost, which we want to have. Alright. Yeah, I accidentally dismantled the requester chest, which I didn't want to do. Because now I have to go through and set all these guys again. Although actually, a better way of doing it is just circuit network. So you get set up, read ingredients, set requests based on the ingredients, and then you are going to be making beacons. Is there anything else in here which we could be doing in these? Various types of circuits and wire and... okay, nothing super critical that I'm missing. I guess the power poles I could be doing, but that's fine. Oh, hello. Welcome. I seem to have been raided. So yeah, we are trying to make legendary quality stuff, and boy is it not going easily. Cool. Greg Tech, that's the Minecraft mod, right? The insanely complicated one, from what I understand. Alright, so this is going. Hello, yeah, so we are playing Satisfactory, or not Satisfactory, we're playing Factorio. Cool. Yeah, so we're playing Factorio, we're trying to work on legendary quality, which basically just results in crunching down a huge amount of resources into every individual thing you make. Just finish your Factorio stream. You're doing a cursed run? Yeah. There's a whole lot of cursed things going on in here. Alright, so this is... oh wait, I forgot to get you set to make legendary quality beacons. Duh. Get that set up. Alright, so that is... we're just going to get rid of all this stuff. And then this is going to request the stuff that we actually want. And then we can get legendary quality beacons getting made. Alright, so that is going now. You're a new subscriber? Thank you. I appreciate it. Alright, so this is doing its thing. The circuits are insanely difficult to get, but hopefully... yeah, the iron plates still... iron plates are still struggling. And how many of these do we have? We are up to 20 of these, so I should go back in again and start upgrading some of those things. It's been a while since I checked. It's a universal one-wagon train tiny city block build. almost 100 hours and still on Novice. That's insane. One wagon trains, like, at that point, well, oh, I can't even imagine. Thank you for the subscription. It means a lot. Alright, so we just have to sort of figure out where these are going to go best. And I think that's going to be in these ones. So we paste those in, and that will get quality just ever so slightly better. And actually our other source of quality modules is up here, so we might have even more. Yeah, we have another 16 up there. So we should actually be able to almost max out this row. So do that, still not having any trouble with any of that stuff. Alright, so that's all going. Vulcanus still waiting on its fusion power setup. So that is going to be a little while, probably. The space platform delivering that is not the fastest space platform in the world. It sort of goes everywhere. Alright, so this... What's the difference here again? This is 24.8, this is 18.8. So it's a good plus 6 percentage points, which is pretty meaningful, honestly. Like, with the amount of stuff that we're doing here, the amount of times it goes through that, it gets a lot. Alright, so this is working. And everything there is going well. So the iron plate supply is still functioning, although barely. So over on Vulcanus, we're trying to eventually move this over to Vulcanus so we don't have to do all of this stuff off of actual iron ore patches, but for now it's just easier to do it here. And we've got our copper wire set up over here, which we have a much better stockpile of that. So this is doing its thing. I guess we could make some of these marginally more efficient. Yeah, let's actually just shut that down. I don't need that many of those. They're just sort of too expensive at this point when the iron plates are such a serious shortage. Okay, over to here. Yeah, so the iron plates are very much the limiting factor. And let's get these legendary recyclers sent over. So, Fulgora support. We need you to pick up legendary recyclers with a minimum payload of 5, probably. Yep, we are trying to get legendary set up, and honestly, I should probably just be like expanding the base factory more to keep up with it, but for now we're trying to just do our best with what we have here. What are all these drones doing? Oh right, I forgot that I was feeding my legendary concrete supply entirely by drone. Right. That's a thing. That's a decision that I made at one point. So yeah, those drones are going to be busy doing that. How's the power grid going? Weird and convoluted. That doesn't look normal, but it's probably fine. Oh, these foundries go insane spikes. What on earth is that? That's probably just these foundries, huh? Something is bumping against your mic every now and then. Hydrate, nice. I mean, autocorrect maybe? I don't know. Okay, so yeah, this is what's causing it. So now we have enough iron plates to completely backlog this whole thing that these are turning off and on sporadically. Alright, so that's going. I guess that means, theoretically, we have enough iron plates to expand this out more, although I have unfortunately boxed myself into a corner, so if I want to do that, I'm just going to have to add a second place for it. Or alternatively, I guess the quality modules might help a little bit, although this is... Of course, all the ones that I upgraded are all output full. Okay, we need to... If we try to fix that, it's just going to break things, isn't it? This whole system... Like, all of these recycling systems, they're like constantly on the verge of getting deadlocked. And I don't know how to prevent that. So if I add the iron plates to output to both sides of the belt here, that might deadlock things. It also might not deadlock things, to be fair, so I guess we should try it first. Can I get a Spidertron over here for faster construction? Alright, Spidertron is coming up. Okay, so Spidertron is here. Now, I could just upgrade this to a higher tier belt. How many of these are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So the halfway point would be like halfway through this one. So I don't know, just something like this. Alright. So, now we get to play the game of will this slightly increased throughput completely jam the entire system? I hope that the answer is no. But it's tough to say. Okay, wait. This is now... So this is running out of iron plates, despite the fact that I checked earlier and we have a good supply of them. So that's just train throughput problems, I guess. I guess those train throughput problems are a thing. Let's see here. Okay, it's not that bad. It might actually help keep things from getting deadlocked, maybe. Who knows? Okay, wait, we just lost something. It's been a while since that's happened. Oh, because I put an artillery piece down here finally, because I'm not worried about preserving these. Alright. You can be okay, how do you unprotect these? How do you unprotect these? I don't know. I guess we just have to artillery them. And this whole area is going to be under attacks by retaliations from the artillery turret. And I have plenty of laser turrets down here because I was a bit paranoid about the captive fighter spawners. So it shouldn't be a problem, but I don't want these weird exposed things out here in front. Were you trying to get to legendary? Yeah, the plan is like everything important. Like, I don't know about literally everything, but like, you know, machines and modules and that sort of stuff, basically. Alright, so this is now all set up. Let's actually add a couple more laser turrets onto that. And maybe I should double wall it. Yeah, even with the insane amount of laser turrets here, I should probably double wall this. Just to be sure. There we go. That will hopefully keep control of all that. As long as the drones don't all get massacred trying to build it when the biters show up. Which is a pretty common occurrence. Okay, so this is still running. Do we have more modules to upgrade? Do we have more modules to upgrade? Not really. We've got like one there, probably a couple up here. Okay, yeah, no, none up there. Actually, this is broken. Alright. Now we get to figure out what went wrong with that. not enough red circuits. Fascinating. And the green circuits don't look great either. Although that's actually just what the green circuits look like. Alright, so what is up with the red circuits? Those are all the way over here. They're not getting plastic because we're not getting coal. Oh, this is that same issue, right? Where the coal... Okay, no, the coal is actually just jammed. Okay, the coal is jammed. So I set this up to be able to hold a second train. Oh wait, is it not jammed? Is it not jammed and it's just not producing fast enough? Yeah, it turns out having just one singular coal patch is kind of suboptimal. So, I mean, I guess we can just find another coal patch and add that in, or try to figure out how to make this be higher throughput. So we could just module these, I guess. Let's exit the train interface, because that's a bit distracting. So, if we... Let's see, I want to do the old productivity speed module thing on these. So, if we just take out, like, a checkerboard pattern like this, and just replace those with beacons, that should be the optimal way of doing it. Okay, so now we have that checkerboard, and there's definitely a better way of doing this, like, in general, but in terms of just upgrading a system from not having beacons to having beacons, this is probably the best way to go. So all these go in. And then time to start spamming the modules apart. We're reasonably likely to run out of modules here. Okay, and then that bottom one doesn't need to exist, probably. Just replace that with another beacon. Okay, now the speed modules. All of these go in. And power lines should cover this, unless something weird has happened. Alright, so that is all in. And modules go across. And hopefully that will be much better. Okay, wait. No, the speed modules are on their way. Speed modules are on their way, apparently. Okay, wait. Something weird is happening in Vulcanus. Why did that happen? The reactors got built, but the generators didn't. Alright, have a good rest. I'm only going to be streaming for like another 20 minutes or so as well, but yeah, have a good rest. Hopefully I'll see you next time, perhaps. Alright, so this is all set up. And why did you not get the generators? So you don't have any generators on you. What's the minimum payload of that? Is 5. Alright, see ya. So we have enough. We've got plenty of those. It might just be a launching limitation, because Aquilo still only has the one rocket silo. And I don't know... Actually, the power situation is probably completely fine to add more rocket silos. Though I don't know about the... I don't know about the actual, like, blue circuits and everything. I don't know how we're getting those up, but... Alright, so this is now, like, a billion times faster. Each of these was, like, 5, and now they're, like, 20. So, let's yoink this belt here and bring it up and just sort of connect it across to there. And that should give us 2 full belts, probably, if what I'm looking at here is correct. It should probably give us 2 full belts of coal, which should get us to where we need to be. And I guess that can just be dismantled, because it's not doing anything. Might as well save the foundry. Alright, the drones bring all the resources in. And there it goes. Alright, just a couple more belts before this can be going all the way through. Okay, just 1 transport belt. And now we have what looks like... Yeah, so now we have more coal going in than we can load, which means it's time to upgrade these 2 stack inserters. So we have those. We still have all these missing things down on Vulcanus. Let's just cover most of those by just getting a drone port down to here. So that should make most of those demands disappear, because they'll actually just be able to be built. And then we started building this. I got distracted. What were we doing? We had... Right, I just want to actually get... If we can just get like 1 singular legendary foundry. Let's see, steel plates, electronic circuits, we've got those. Refined concrete, I believe, is craftable at least, because we have the concrete. And so it's just going to be tungsten carbide that we need to do for that. We are taking losses on Novice. Oh, this area is being attacked now. That's a new one. Okay. They haven't bothered to come down to attack this area before. I guess this is producing like an infinity more pollution than it was because of all the modules, so I guess that makes sense. It's a good thing it was protected. Okay, now let's just get an artillery outpost in here somewhere. Where were those? Artillery outpost. There you are. So just get one of you guys in. And you can go down... I don't want to go to all the effort of, like, going super far down. The outpost can just go there. Which... Actually, that's not even that much further. Alright, we are going to have to go a couple steps down, I guess. So let's get that drone port in and power it. And we're only gonna go a few steps. Let's actually get a Spidertron into the area for that purpose. And then we need to check back in on our iron production. There's always just 20 billion different things to be working on at all times. Alright, so this is probably output full because we don't want more of those. This, the iron supply looks like it's going okay-ish. So that's good. Let's see here, the coal. How is the coal doing now that we've made our upgrades, actually? That's also right here. A train just left there, so it's hard to say. But how long until another train arrives? Is that... Yeah, you're already on your way. Okay. It looks like we're just barely able to keep up. Okay, the coal supply... The coal supply is just barely hanging in there with a Mark 1 belt. But that's fine. As long as it works, it works. And the plastic is limited, but not the major elimination factor. Okay. So we need to lock in, go back to Vulcanus, and the tungsten carbide. We need legendary tungsten carbide in order to get legendary foundries. And if we can get legendary foundries, then everything becomes very, very fast. 9 losses, just drones. Alright. So, legendary tungsten carbide. Tungsten carbide is an assembler recipe, so it'll actually decompose into different parts, which I don't particularly want, I don't think. And then carbon is... How do you craft carbon? What machine is that in? Hopefully... So we can just craft legendary carbon from our supply of legendary coal. That's doable. And then we just add on legendary tungsten ore, and then we also get legendary tungsten plates for our trouble. Okay, so I guess that's going to be our next step. Legendary tungsten ore, and then we're going to have to import some stuff. Actually, do we even store our legendary coal? We just instantly craft it all up into plastic. Yeah, we just instantly craft it all up into plastic, which I actually think I don't want. So let's dismantle that real quick. And we are just going to have a just random second output. So this is going to take up a big chunk of our legendary coal, which is bad. But it will also let us make other things from the legendary coal, which is good. So less plastic, more legendary carbon and such. Okay. Did this ever bring... It did. And it happens to be right at the correct spot, too, to actually drop them off. Okay, now, we want to obviously only put those recyclers on things which already have legendary modules. So, and we also want to put them into categories where we are limited. So that would be the coal and the iron plates. And the iron plates are also... Oh wait, no, the iron plates seem to be struggling with iron supply still. We don't have enough room to let these guys buffer. So is it just simply because... I think it's just because our supply of iron plates is all the way over here. There's currently no train here loading. Let's see if we can just... It might be possible to just add another train on to the iron group and then have that work. So let's just see if that improves things. Why did that take damage? I have no idea what happened there. Whatever it is, I missed it. Alright, so you are on the iron plate group. And you should be all loaded up. And destination stop full. Okay, so that's not working properly. I just realized we have to actually artillery demolish those guys because they're out of my walls and spawning biters. Alright, so those got queued, and looks like some other artillery is gonna pitch in. And they get blown up, no problem. So that should help improve the safety of that area. Now what were we doing? We were looking at the iron plate situation. So we added an extra train in. It did eventually leave. Now this one is destination full as well. Okay, what I think we might need is... we might need something incredibly cursed. Literally just like a midway point. Let's see. We have all this stuff here, which is where I just designed a blueprint and then never dismantled the original thing. And also I never even end up using this blueprint. But I can just reorganize this and use it. So, step 1, at bare minimum, all this stuff needs to be blue. I don't think it needs to be green, but just make it blue so that it's at least a little bit fast, because that's like twice as fast as red, which is a huge improvement for something which is relatively easily accessible. Okay, alright, you do have those on the way. So the fusion reactor on Vulcanus is starting to get set up. So this is all going. Now I just need to set this up. So is this connected to the train network? It isn't, but it can be relatively easily. So that should be doable, and then what we need to do is say, is this set up to have both inputs and outputs, or this is just an insane stack of inputs? Okay. Yeah, no, I definitely was not doing the best thing when I designed it this way. But it's fine. We can fix this. And actually, okay, the easiest way to fix that would be to just do this, because this I did end up swapping around. So if I copy paste this entire setup here, this should fit exactly, except for the parts which get swapped around to point the other direction. Now we just need you to go in like that, and boy, I sure hope it works. Okay, so yeah, now our trains are getting stuck because we don't have any good valid destinations. So that's not good. So what we need to do is figure out which direction these are going. So this goes into here. So that just connects across to that. And this just connects out to that. And then we need to get, let's see here. How do T intersections work? So you are connected in that way, and you also need to be connected in this way. Alright, this is incredibly scuffed, but I guess that works. And then you are the output, which I guess we can... You're normally going that way, but I guess you can... Wait, this is wrong, right? This is definitely wrong. So you go in there. So we have that way and that way. So you can either go into there or into there. And then this one, you go out that way. This is the exit, right? So you leave, you go up that way, which is wrong. Yes, okay, so that was not right. I knew something was wrong with that. Alright, so you are supposed to go down that way or over this way, which of course we also don't really have room for. This is going to be the world's worst intersection, but as long as we have chain signals and everything, it should be fine. So you're a chain signal going into that intersection. You are a chain signal going into that intersection. Alright, hopefully that all works. And what... Huh? Oh, right, I copied this. That's actually very annoying, because we're going to need to fix that. So this is going to be iron plate destination. And we paste that across. And I think we just don't need that. I think we just don't need the logic for these. And then this is... Okay, these are meant to be iron plate sources, so that works out. Now these trains here, I need you to just move along whenever you get the chance. So that is happening. Then we're just... Let's see. This has got to be almost cleared out, right? I guess the supply of artillery shells isn't terribly fast when we have this set to 8. I guess we could set it higher if we wanted it to have more drones in the air at a time, which would fix that. But it shouldn't be necessary. Alright, so the concrete is still working. The coal is still working, and we have a little bit of legendary coal. Very, very much a little bit, though. Not great quantities. That means that in that entire time, we've gotten 9 of that. I guess the plastic production ratio is pretty good. So we were getting more plastic than we would be coal, but it's still not a great sign for all of this. So if this is mostly still running on those, so what we can do is, if we get legendary quality recyclers in, to just like the first 3, and then make sure that those are also legendary quality modules, which apparently we can't quite manage. Alright, let's check back up here, because this was broken before, and I thought that it should get fixed with the extra coal. And it did. This is running again. Okay. So that's all good. Just a couple legendary modules short of having this go fully. So, that is in, and this is now 32 coal in to 8 coal out. And this bulk inserter isn't able to keep up, so we're mostly just wasting that. That's unfortunate. Yeah, so this coal is designed in kind of a... This was designed in kind of a stupid way, which I think we just need to just remove. So, if we just have you just do that, then you just output directly to whatever it is, then hopefully that will be fine. And you're probably going to need a second bulk inserter to keep up at full speed once you are running. And we need those belts to go in. They're not. Aquilo Quantum Support still stopped at Aquilo. It's just been loading up all the fusion generators, I guess. And it's low on a whole bunch of other stuff. But hopefully that's not a problem. Did our lithium production break? Did our lithium production break? So that's this stuff down here. Not enough holmium plates. Which of you is supposed to be providing those? It wasn't you, that's for sure. It was you. And you are on your way with 1,000 of them. I mean, surely that's enough. Except you're not even requesting them. 200. You're requesting 200. Oh, I see. Okay. So we need to clear the holmium plates out of these places where they're not supposed to be. Yeah, this could have very easily broken the entire planet if that had gone on for long enough. But it should be fine now. And I don't know where they're taking all that stuff, but we need to get a requester chest in for holmium plates, I guess. So that should work. It's not ideal because drones on Aquilo stink, but it should be fine. So we have lithium producing again. That should get everything else functional. Assuming that that was the only problem, which I think is a safe assumption. The science is... yeah, so the science was waiting on lithium, although this science was just... okay, so this science is just stuck on the fluoroketone supply. How is that? Am I just dumb? Did I just never connect this? How is that possible that I never noticed that? That this pipe just straight up isn't connected. Okay, easy fix, easy fix. Just go down to there. And make sure the heat pipes connect across, although I don't know if this heat pipe actually does anything. And I think this heat pipe is connected in maybe another direction. But it's just always good to make sure that your heat pumps stay connected. Alright, so that is that. So yeah, now these guys are output full because I'm dumb and I inputted the holmium on the wrong side. Of course I did. Of course I did. Alright, how do I even fix that? Actually, I'm physically present, so I can just fix that manually. Alright, so we just do that. And we just get back into our Spidertron. No, apparently we didn't quite get all of them. There. Now, surely we've gotten all of them. Okay. That batch of lithium just passed through. And this inserter that we had, the requester chest needs to be just on the other side, I guess. Which is going to be hard to squeeze in. Actually, wait, I can just manually throw you into there. Alright, that is a bit of a lazy solution, but it works. Lithium supply back online. Where's my Spidertron? There it is. Alright, so Aquilo has been fixed. And we're not going to explode today. So Aquilo has been fixed, and you have all of those. Now you're getting the cryogenic plants. So yeah, the Vulcanus fusion reactor should be online soon. This is just doing its thing, slowly but surely. And I think we are going to call it there for today. So thanks for hanging out. A lot of fun. See, I stream every weekday from 2 to 5 Eastern Time. I play Satisfactory and Factorio. I do Factorio on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and Satisfactory on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So if you're interested in any of the various factory building games, make sure to stop by and see what I'm doing. And follow if you haven't already. If you've already followed, thanks, that means a lot. And yep, that's about it. I'll see you guys tomorrow in Satisfactory, where we're doing neural quantum processor stuff. So super late game there. So that's about it. Thanks everyone for hanging out. Bye.